Anna and I were talking about this earlier today. Kamala Harris actually been doing a little bit better on the stump than she has in the past. So that's a little bit of a relief. If she's like perfectly good on the stump, we're not doing the old progressive versus establishment stuff. We just need an emergency ticket that is good enough that unifies the Democratic Party and can beat Donald Trump. Don't get me wrong, when we go to 2028, we'll be right back to establishment versus progressives, and I don't care if they're the sitting president, I don't care about anything, okay? But right now we gotta win this election and we gotta preserve democracy.
Yeah.
So, and I don't mind if it's Kamala Harris, but it has to be through an open convention and she would be the huge favorite in an open convention because she's the vice president of the United States. So, but if she can't pull off winning enough delegates when she's the vice president, that means she's a weak candidate. We have to test the next candidate. Our number one problem here was we didn't test Joe Biden in the primary. That's what I was desperately trying to do when I ran in the primary. For God's sake, test him. Imagine if we had one debate in the primary. We would have known this problem 6 months ago, and we would have been able to have a great ticket already. That would have built up energy. So do not listen to anyone in Democratic leadership telling you we must anoint. The great wise ones in Democratic leadership have decided it must be Kamala Harris. No, let the delegates decide. They're Biden delegates anyway. They're Biden-Harris delegates.
Probably predisposed to prefer her anyway.
Of course, she's part of the ticket. If she can't win those delegates, she definitely shouldn't be the candidate.
And everyone should definitely remember, this is not a random assortment of delegates.
Yes, that's right.
All the reporting has been that the Biden team was very selective in who they were choosing, maybe fearing something like this could happen. There could be some sort of challenge or something. So they probably are predisposed towards Harris anyway. I would assume that she is the prohibitive favorite. But that said, I agree, there should be some sort of, it's time to institute the lightning primary. Get Oprah, get Taylor Swift, start having them do the town halls, as the reporting very credibly said. But I would also say, I don't want to be like Debbie Downer or whatever. I agree, the stakes could not be higher. Election has to be won. And as you say, even if it is Harris and she comes in, people should not write off that we have a primary in 2028 to potentially replace her with a progressive. Realistically, it makes it more difficult, but we cannot have Donald Trump win this year. So
I would say a message to progressives. Like, they always accuse progressives of, oh, you guys, how dare you? You dare to defy Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, and you created disunity, et cetera. That was nonsense. That was never true. We had a normal primary. In fact, we should have had a more wholesome primary in all three times. Although in 2020 it was a real primary until everyone, the establishment, both the candidates and the press coalesced to fight off Bernie. But I believe in primaries, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't disagree with whatever leadership said. I just told you, don't listen to leadership, right? But at the same time, don't be selfish and think, well, if a Democrat wins in 24 and it's an establishment candidate, it'll be harder for a progressive to win in 2028.
In a primary, or if
in a primary? No, in a primary, right? So because that's how the establishment candidates think.
I disagree. Generally, primarying incumbent president is very difficult. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying
no. I want to be clear about that. It's definitely way more difficult.
Oh, okay, then we agree.
So what I'm saying is, but we shouldn't be selfish and say, since it's much more difficult to primary an establishment candidate once they're the incumbent, we shouldn't support that. No, we should support
100%,
whoever is the Democratic candidate that comes out of that open convention.
Wait, there's a very long, distinguished history of progressives getting literally no credit for anything that they do. But have we not been merciful? First of all, you primaried Biden, but it's not like every progressive was saying coming out of that primary, jumping on every mistake to say that he has to step down. It only really started in earnest after the debate. It's not like we were super biased. It took really strong evidence to start to move that. And then once we started talking about replacing Biden, what progressive was saying, we're only gonna replace him with a progressive. It's gotta be Bernie, it's gotta be AOC. Nobody's saying that. And by the way, the vast majority of us have been saying that if he doesn't get replaced, we'll obviously still support him. And now we're saying we will willingly make it significantly more difficult in 2028 because we care about the result this year. And so we will likely support, all of the names on the short list. Yeah. Again, we'll get no credit whatsoever.
So we are going to unify after the convention 100% to beat Donald Trump.
100%.
Now, at the same time, if within an open convention, and remember, at a bare minimum, you have to pick a new vice president, right? So as in terms of at least vice presidential candidate, nominee, not necessarily, Joe Biden's not necessarily stepping down from the presidency at all, okay? Just from a candidate, if we're right about all this, and we are. So you wanna advocate for Jamie Raskin? You wanna advocate for Ro Khanna? You wanna advocate for a progressive to be on the ticket? Great, why not? Of course, right? You could argue for top of the ticket, you could argue for vice president, you could argue for any of those things.
It's interesting.
Jamie Raskin would be super interesting.
Very interesting.
Right? And he actually unifies all parts of the party. And so there's nothing wrong with that. That's the whole point of an open convention. Now, it's gonna be hard for any progressive to get on the ticket because those are the most conservative Democrats in the country that are the delegates, right? Although I know some progressive delegates. So it's not impossible. And a guy like Raskin is a huge uniter. So let's go fight for that. Let's go fight for and advocate for the people that we believe in more, right? And then whoever the ticket is, win or lose those fights, then we unify and go beat Trump.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to do it right now, but at some point we definitely have to speculate, particularly with the most likely case. If it's Harris, then who?
Yeah,
I mean, Buttigieg is. I'm just saying who they were. They're probably unlikely to want to take one of the senators. They don't want a more difficult, Senate map than they already have. I don't know why Whitmer or Newsom, some of the governors, would necessarily do that. That doesn't. I mean, maybe. I think it would be more likely that you take one of the senior Democrats that's in a position that's easy to replace, like a cabinet secretary.
So we'll definitely have a lot of these conversations going forward. Last thing I'll say on that for now is that some of the knuckleheads, like Governor Newsom, might not want to be vice president because they think that Trump's going to win. There was a report out that they were thinking of surrendering and having Biden being the sacrificial lamb earlier in the week.
That is now short-sighted, I think.
Yeah, of course, of course. But these guys are careerists. That's why I say, look, progressives aren't selfish. We're going to support this ticket, and 2028 is another day. But the corporate Democrats are super selfish. So if Newsom thinks, I don't want to be vice president, I'll just beat whoever is running in 28. Okay, brother, if you don't want to run, don't run.
I don't think he'd want to be for multiple reasons. I don't see him thinking he should be second fiddle. Anyway.
But if you have an open convention, Newsom can make a case that he should be president.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. They all get to make that case, and they have to prove it to you guys. Generally speaking, why you guys, the delegates, make the actual decision, but they'll poll you guys from here all the way through the end of the convention. See, what do people like? Do they like Newsom? Do they like Whitmer? Do they like Shapiro? Do they like Raskin? Do they like Bashir, Westmore? All of these exciting candidates, exciting Democrats that now we're going to get to pick from, I hope, and get a whole new ticket that could actually win this thing. So this is as good a news as you could possibly hope for. And it comes right in the middle of the RNC.
Yeah.
So, I think today might be a very historic day for reasons people did not expect at all.
I definitely agree, and just stop and think for a second. It is your membership, your support that makes it that we will be there. Okay, what could be one of the most exciting Democratic conventions that has literally ever happened in the history of America.
Oh my God, John, that's such a great point. tyt.com/team, because you guys sent us to the RNC, you gotta send us to the DNC now. Oh my God, it could be in the middle of a delegate fight.
Yeah.
This could be the most exciting convention of our lifetimes. tyt.com/team. Please donate, become a member. We do need to raise that money. We're nowhere near the overall goals yet, but certainly we could use that money to go to the DNC. So thank you guys. tyt.com/team. Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.